So, without further ado, we have helping us navigate the world of cosplay, Michael from RedRock Cosplay and TK, aka Dabboy, or Dabboy. Is it like Dab? Guest revealed. Welcome, my guests. Welcome. Unmute your mics.
Hey.
welcome. TK, I have to know, is it Dabboy, like Dab? Like...
It's actually Dabby Boy, but fine, whatever.
Dabby Boy. Okay, got it. I should have asked you before the show, but I wanted to riff and go with the idea of it being Dab Boy. So I was like, that would make sense.
Actually, but I came to like that name, so I let people call me Dab Boy. So
Dab Boy, okay. If it's okay with you, I would like to refer to you as Dab Boy for the rest of this episode. All right. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. Cosplay. Like cosplay. I have to know from right off the bat, we start off with like, what is your cosplay origin story? Like, where were you? I want you to paint a picture for me, like vividly as possible, of like, where were you when you decided you like wanted to get into cosplay? You're like, cosplay is the thing I want to be. I'm gonna kick it off. I want TK, Dabboy, you start us off.
For me, it started at a convention, my like local convention center in Montreal. It's called the Otakuthon for like anime video games. And then that's where I discovered cosplay. I've seen like some Iron Man cosplay, and I was like, that's so cool.
How old were you?
I want to do something like that, and that's how it started for me.
How old were you when you saw that?
Not long. 20 actually, so not too long ago. Man.
How long? So perspective.
So that's been like 5 years now. No,
5 years.
Yeah.
So from that 5 years to now, you've been able to put together like ridiculous cosplay.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, give us your origin story. Tell me, like, did you like? I want to hear. I hope this origin story is like similar to Spider-Man, like you're bit by a radioactive cosplayer, and suddenly
practically, sure. Actually, man, just about 4 years ago today, in fact.
Oh my God! Wow.
Big. It's biggest comic convention going on in my hometown right this minute, actually. And 4 years ago, first time I'd ever attended. I'd always heard about comic conventions. I thought they were, pretty awesome. But then I went and I saw people getting into the characters and, all these fandoms just blew my mind. So next thing I knew, I'm scouring the internet trying to find, who should I dress up as? This will be, let's shake the world with something creative. And just kind of one thing led to another, and my origin story is standing behind me. First thing I've ever built.
Wow, the first thing you ever built?
First thing.
Wow. Holy crap.
Much better than what the first thing I did.
That's like better than anything I've ever built.
No. At least you set the bar really low for yourself in the next project.
Oh, I know. That's my problem now, is what do I do to outdo myself? I don't know.
Gundam. Build a Gundam.
Full size, yeah.
Full functional size Gundam. All right. So to give some perspective to our audience about your each of your relative cosplay, or at least I'm going to do the StarCraft related cosplay. So TK or Dabboy, you made the Archon. You've done the Archon, and Tara, if you can put up those images or some images related to the cosplay. The Archon, Hydralisk, and you had a ghost. I didn't know about the ghost.
The ghost was actually one of my first cosplay. It's a little underrated because it's like still new and nobody really knew who I was, and that's a little bit hidden story. Yeah.
Was like your first one to test with, like one of your first cosplay?
I could test with pretty much.
That was like when Spider-Man was fighting Bonesaw in that one. Nobody really knew who he was yet, but he still did.
It's one of those obscure ones you're like, no one knows, no one can criticize.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that one, how long ago was that one? the Ghost one? Was that like?
So the Ghost was like in 2013, so that would be 5 years from now. Yeah.
All right, and then you, Michael, you have made your first. I don't know, is it your only cosplay, or was that your first main cosplay, and then you did others after it? Because I was only able to find one.
I've got bits and pieces to about 5 or 6 other things. I find it a hard time finding enough time to finish any of them off. So, yeah, at the moment, he's my first and only.
So you're first and you're only, but still like the magnus opum of cosplay, the Jim Raynor Marine suit. Not even just any Marine suit, Jim Raynor Marine suit. I don't know, Tara, if you can pull up some little images for us on that. One thing I have to say that really caught my interest, and I don't know, those of you got a chance to take a look at some of these cosplays, but the detail to putting together, right down to the spine. I think that was like what got me was the spine of Jim Raynor. I was like, if this was made out of metal, you could probably use it to fight Zerglings. Like, this is legit.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if you had to, register that thing with the government before wearing it.
Like, it's one of those things where I would imagine that the amount of time that goes into it is just surreal. So,
at least you got pretty close shoe size as the guy.
Yeah.
Dulles, why don't you hit us up for our first question?
Okay. So I know Dabboy, you already answered this. Actually, you both kind of answered this a little bit, but do you have like a favorite? Like, have y'all cosplayed outside of those main places? Do you have like a favorite place that you cosplay, or maybe even like where do you receive the best response for what you were wearing at those events?
In my case, my local convention is where like I got like a really big response, and that's like what sort of propelled me into the world and see what's out there. And then after it was at BlizzCon, on the actual stage at BlizzCon, where like really like you could feel like the energy and like all of the fans and everybody who likes what you like at the same time. It was awesome, like over there.
I bet I bet the chills you were getting just from the reaction.
Yeah,
you were almost as excited as they were, if not more so. But I'm sure the entire crowd was just going insane when they saw these things.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah. First time I really took it out in public was a huge Comic-Con. So, just absolutely mobbed with people. Never been anything like that in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. Great response. And, it makes me sad though, that majority of the people come up to you like, are you from Warhammer? Are you
that breaks my heart too, I promise.
Oh,
like Warhammer scoff. Like, listen. This is vintage.
I will say my little boy thought I was Buzz Lightyear, and I was all right with that.
Yeah.
So
I can see. I like the Buzz. Yeah, Infinity and Beyond. That completely works. Did you like walk out into like public, or did you put it on at the con? Like, did you like walk down the street and just kind of like, start wandering past your local supermarket, and people are like,
"This thing does not transport very well."
Oh.
No, it takes 4 or 5 people to move this thing in any kind of timely manner. So, bringing it into the con piece by piece, and while I'm suiting up, people are starting to gather, and by the time I'm ready to walk around, I couldn't move. There were too many people. They wanted photos and asking questions, and so it took me, probably an hour and a half to walk 50 feet.
Oh my god! So do you kind of like? Do you just kind of shuffle? Like, how does that work? You kind of like?
No, it actually moves pretty well, surprisingly. The only thing I got to remember is how big the feet are. That's definitely an adaptation.
I'm gonna imagine escalators are kind of like out of the question.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I know
I tried a ramp, a very gentle ramp, and I nearly ate it. So stay away from stairs.
Right, stay off the high ground.
Yeah.
The vision is nice. So I know in a lot of conventions that I've gone to, they have like movie theaters and stuff that they're showing stuff. Do you ever try to like just go sit down in the front row? They just grab a bucket of popcorn. It's like totally normal. I belong here. Nobody worry about it.
Something I should think about. Yeah. It's unfortunately it's a little uncomfortable to wear. So
like you can't. I don't imagine you can sit. Like I feel like sitting is out of the question with that.
Out of the question.
Absolutely. Like, I gotta imagine.
Not a chance.
So, what background do you need to put something like to get into this? Like, did you guys have? Like I saw a lot of the how tos, like the building process. There's a lot of modeling. There's a lot of like cutting and making pieces and for the props and even the designs themselves. Like, what did you need educational wise to get into? Is it 3D modeling, computer science? What does it take?
Okay.
Either of you.
Well, in my case, I mostly relied on pictures and videos from like StarCraft cinematics to get the view of how the Hydralisk would look like, even the Archon, and how I get to build things together. I think it's just like most of it is like trial and errors and just like, okay, let's put these together, see how the shape looks like, and okay, I don't like this, so scratch that, and then I try it again. So from scratch, I don't have a lot of experience before that in cosplay making, and it's just like really trying and see how it goes. If I don't like it, throw it out, put it again.
So did you have to, because I saw a lot of paper mashing, like did you just YouTube like how to make paper mache mask? Like,
so most of it is coming from like other cosplayer out there who's already done things similar to what I was trying to make, and like trying to see, okay, he does it that way, okay, let's try it, use that technique. If it works, then yeah, it's good, so great, and then we continue on. So most of it comes from the
God bless the internet.
Yeah.
Because like that is amazing. What about yourself, Mike?
That is basically the same thing.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I've got a design background, so you know I've been a design engineer for 8 or 10 years now, but I feel like anybody can pick this up. Like I said, I've never done anything like this before, so really it's go to YouTube and whatever people are willing to share, absorb it, just learn it. I didn't know that you could heat form foam before this. Like, it didn't even dawn on me. You find 1 or 2 sources that you'd consider an expert in the field, and you just take everything that you can learn from them and do your best to duplicate it.
Like, okay, so maybe breaking it down to like YouTube foo or YouTube skills senseis. Like, what are some like key skills then, like that you probably need to know from like if someone's to search up on YouTube, what should they start learning?
I learned a lot from Kamui Cosplay. She's like one of the big
Absolutely.
ones. Yeah, and she works a lot with the foam armors, and she has like very straight up tutorial, very easy to follow. So she was one of the sources that mainly go to for EV foam armor.
She does a lot of she publishes books. In fact, she does specialized books on painting, foam work, LEDs, how to light your cosplay. She's absolutely genius in the cosplay world.
So if I'm gonna take a stab at it, so I'm guessing you'd have to learn foam manipulation, so cutting it, melting it or whatever, maybe a little bit electrical, so like LED, whatever have you. Some design, like I'm guessing you have to plan out to some degree what you're going to do,
like how much to cut, and then how
to kind of like measure twice, cut once kind of thing. What other skills? Am I missing something else? Maybe paper maching. Like I'm. Is that a? Yeah, I guess that's a skill.
Painting too. Painting.
I don't know why I didn't even remember painting.
Yeah.
Painting.
Sewing is a big one for a lot of cosplays out there.
Sewing. Oh my god, I totally forgot about sewing.
Yeah.
What kind of injuries have y'all gone through making these things?
Like burn
you always
from heat.
Yeah, soldering and stuff. Just like, oops, that's on my finger.
Soldering. Oh my god, I totally forgot about soldering. Soldering is totally like a skill that you have to learn.
Hot glue too.
Soldering burns, hot glue gun burns, sticking yourself with needles.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I've permanently damaged my left shoulder just from wearing the costume. So
oh my god. So what is like the worst injury that you've gotten? Like what is the worst injury you've gotten from doing cosplay?
Probably that shoulder.
Probably it's the same too with my Archon. The shoulders, it's pretty heavy on it. Like at the end of the day, so it was the same.
The first harness that I had built to hold the majority of the weight of this thing, I had it set up wrong, so it was putting too much weight on my collarbone and the shoulder rotator cuff, whatever it's called, and I had a hard time using it for a couple of months after that first Comic-Con, so it still twinges a bit occasionally. But
did you have to go to a doctor? Did you?
No.
Doctor? No.
Sort of wore a sling for a few weeks and making sure to keep up on the pain meds.
I was wondering if there was going to be like a where he's going to be like, what did you do? And I'm like, well, I put on a suit, a really huge one. Was there ever a time you felt like quitting cosplaying, or quitting a cosplay in general?
There were several points where my wife questioned my sanity while I was building this. But no, I started it and I intended to finish it.
Yeah. Did you hit like roadblocks or barriers? You're like, maybe this isn't gonna work, or was it all kind of smooth sailing?
No, it was definitely maybe this isn't gonna work from the very beginning. I suffer from perfectionism, and every step of the way you worry, is this going to end up the way I want it to look? And, without seeing the finished product, just seeing, the rough foam that you've cut out and glued together, it's like, you really don't have a lot of confidence that it's going to meet your vision. But, all I can say is just muscle through, make it to the end, and do the best you can, and your final product will hopefully meet every dream that you ever had about it. But it's definitely
I was gonna say, how long did it take you then, in terms of
it took me a better part of 2 years.
Wow.
Beginning to end. But to be honest, I didn't go into it thinking I'm gonna build a suit. I went into it, I created a 3D model, because that's what I do for a living. So in my spare time, I just kind of modeled up a StarCraft Marine and thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I thought, wait a second, if I scale this, I bet I could fit in it. So again, that's when I started looking for tutorials on how to make full-size armor and whatnot. So, but yeah, start to end, if you include my design time, it's about 2 years.
Wow.
TK, it's the same question back to you though. Like, what was there a time you felt like quitting?
No quitting. But the same as Mike says, like, it's hard to see the big pictures when you're in the middle of building it, putting like separate pieces together, and see that it's gonna all go in one piece and look great on stage. So that's a little like the part that you have to struggle with. And after like 7-8 months of building, that's roughly how much I take to build each of the cosplay. You have like that feeling like that sort of exhaustion after you've like run a marathon, and you just like feel like, okay, I need a break from cosplay and just like do other stuff. And then a year after, I come back and I make another cosplay again. So no quitting, but just like I feel a bit of that exhaustion after.
Absolutely.
Oh, wait, how long did you actually, did you say took you for your cosplays? Like, give me the timeline.
7 to 8 months for like the Hydralisk and the Archon.
8 months. So did you do a lot design before it? Like, did you like do a little bit like plan out rough sketches, stuff like that, or did you just jump right into it and like build it as you're going, like building your parachute on your?
It's pretty much build as you go. Like, you sort of ponder about it for like, okay, what's my next cosplay? I want to do this. Okay, how am I gonna do this? And you think about it and everywhere, like when you go to work, when you sleep, and like, okay, do you want like, how am I gonna do this for like a good week or two? And once I'm set, then okay, like let's start putting these things together and see how it goes.
So if that's the case, then like, did you look for like an inspiration, like a muse to hit you or you're like, you know?
I try to look at like what other people have done with other cosplays. For example, like the Hydralisk, I've looked up like, you know, some sort of snake-like cosplay from other video games. Somebody who cosplayed this snake character from League of Legends. I forgot her name, but and
Cassiopeia.
Yeah, Cassiopeia, exactly. Yeah. So I look at that and I saw like, you know, okay, so they made like the tail, but it's sort of like stiff. It felt stiff, and I was like, okay, I don't want that. So I want to make the Hydralisk tail look like, you know, it can like curve around, like slither around as we go. So like, how about, okay, well, instead of making one piece, why don't you just cut each piece separately and then join them, you know, like it's articulated. And you just think about it, okay, like what other people have done and how can you make it like more accurate to what you want to do. And mostly is that how I get like ideas.
Wait, so you didn't start with the actual Hydralisk in mind, or did you start off like?
No, I had the Hydralisk in mind, but I just inspired myself that way from looking at other people's cosplay that sort of look like my character, and what did they think of doing, and sort of like upgrade from there.
So yeah, where were you exactly when you decided to actually go ahead with it? Like whenever you have the idea, you have the drive. Where were you whenever you actually were like, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. This is the path I'm gonna pursue.
You mean where I was physically, or?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, physically,
absolutely.
mentally, both those work.
I was just in my bed, and once I had the picture, like sort of like a clear picture in my head of how I want to make it, then I just got up and I started going to the shop, buying stuff, ordering stuff online, and then everything was together.
That exact day, you're like, do you just jump into it, or like there was no hesitation? Wow, I totally hesitated.
But like it took a long time, you know, just thinking about it, like literally just not just sitting there and thinking about it. Yeah. And how things could work or not work, and then just scratching ideas, and then once I have an idea that sort of makes sense, then try to go.
Did you ever try to talk yourself out of it? Like maybe
it's
hard. Pardon?
Oh, you mean to like sort of like, okay, talk myself out of it? No, I don't think so. I try to see how I can get there. But no, I'm trying to myself. Okay, no, that's not working. Like you should quit. It's just like, you know, just what's that doesn't work. Okay, what's next? Like try something else. Go look for other ideas somewhere else. So, yeah,
man,
just always have that drive.
I have to admit, for me, that's my biggest problem. Is I'm like, oh, maybe this wouldn't work, or maybe this is too expensive, or maybe this like I don't know if you ever have those kind of self-doubt talks, but it seems like you definitely were like, nope, I'm gonna figure it out and go to the next one. What about yourself, Mike? Did you ever like? Or actually, to like Della's question, where exactly were you when you decided to do your cosplay?
Basically, matter of fact, I think I was at work. I was talking to a coworker. He had just built a 3D printer, and I was thinking to myself, what would be a cool thing?
He built the printer itself. He built.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. This was. Like I said, this is several years ago, so they weren't mainstream. They weren't really affordable at that point. So he went out there, he bought a bunch of servos, he got some aluminum channel, some, all the hot end and everything, bought it all separately, and then just kind of pieced it together and used whatever software he could find out there in the digital world to program this thing. And it turned out pretty good. It was a little rough, but he said, if you ever want to print anything, I'll do it for you for just the cost of plastic. And I thought, how can I possibly pass that up? So
it's a great deal.
I modeled up the hands first, the fingers, and made them jointed and wanted to make them functional, and printed those out. And then I thought, wait a second, I could go further with this. And that's when I started researching, how do you go about building a full thing? And it was about a day or two later, I went to my wife and I'm like, honey, I want to build a suit of armor. She says, what? Like, I think I want to build a suit of armor, like a cosplay. What play?
So you actually explained to your wife like the concept of what you were doing. You're like, it's cosplay. This is what cosplay is.
I'm pretty sure until I suited up for the very first time, she had no idea what I was talking about.
So for 2 years, she assumed you were crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, are we going to war?
It's like, what do you mean you're turning floor mats into a costume? That doesn't make sense.
She asked you for what? She's like, for what reason?
Yeah. It's like, well, there's Comic-Con around the corner, and a lot of people do it. So it's like, well, okay, I suppose. By the end, she was totally on board. She supported me all the way, and she was very, very enthusiastic about it. But for a while there, she was probably concerned.
Concerned for the amount of time, the amount of effort, or that it wouldn't work.
Concerned that I'd hit a midlife crisis or something. Not sure. It's like, a lot of people have hobbies, and they're little things, go tinker on the car, or go play StarCraft. She can grasp those, but when it comes to building a 7.5 foot tall suit of armor out of plastic and floor mats and PVC pipe, takes a little explaining.
That's a leap. That's a leap.
TK, did you have any personal relationship explanation that you had to do whenever you started cosplaying?
Well, I live with my parents, so it's basically their house. So the mess that I had to that they had to deal with, I had to explain, I'm gonna clean it up. Don't worry, I'm just doing my thing. And it was like dust and mats all over the living room. But but my parents, so they were skeptical at first, because I just came out of nowhere, starting bringing foam home, and just like Mike said, started cutting them and putting them together. It doesn't make sense. And then once they started to see the results, and they got into it, and my dad, he loves to film, so he really get into it and get me carry things around, and they got really involved basically.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a lot better than your kids doing drugs in the garage, right?
There could be worse hobbies. It's one of those things where
there's worse things I could be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You're building something. It's absolutely amazing. Here's something that's always been in the back of my mind, and I'm really intrigued by the answers. What are the economics of cosplay? On both ends of the cost of putting it together, and then if there are any returns. Obviously, there are professional cosplayers, whatever. Even if it's not on your end, what are the economics of cosplay? Mike, why don't you maybe start us off?
Honestly, it's hard to say. My first event was, I always forget what to call it, Fan X in Salt Lake City, Utah. and I was just a part of the cosplay contest there, and managed to win Best of Show, which got me a 3D printer and some cash, and thought,
oh wow, nice.
Maybe this will go somewhere. A few weekends later, I saw there was a Facebook post for Battle on the Strip in Las Vegas, just a cosplay contest, and thought, yeah, okay, that's an overnight trip. I'll try that. So filed a suit in the car and took it on down there and won Best in Show in that one and won a bit more cash. So, you know, if you do it right, if you're going to be, my dog is down here. If you're going to be doing this professionally and, you know, putting a lot of time and effort and money into it, there is definitely a possibility of getting a lot of time and money back out of it.
Okay.
There's those professionals that like excuse me, like Kamui Cosplay and you know, Bill Duran of Punished Props, you know, other big names out there that is what they do for a living, and they're fantastic at it.
Yeah, you can even end up working for Blizzard, like Henchman Studio, and make the props for their the official props for their new characters release, and make
wow,
like for Overwatch.
So there are avenues. So from cosplay, that's what I'm trying to paint a picture for our audience, even for myself. It's like when you go into cosplay, there are avenues that can branch out of it. Like, so the one that is the most obvious is contests. That's one way to kind of like get some return out of it. You go and you enter in every contest. Another way is obviously getting picked up by a studio to do cosplay props. Another way, I guess, you can become a teacher / YouTuber.
Yeah.
To teach other people about cosplay. Are there any others I might be missing that just kind of branch out?
Work for advertisement also. Like you don't even have to teach, just pose and eventually get popular and be invited as guests to come and just like.
Like a celebrity being like a
yeah, sort of kind of thing. Yeah.
Cosplay celebrity. No, they're actually, you know what? There are a lot of cosplay celebrities. I'm trying to remember. There are
Jessica Negri, you know.
Yeah, Jessica Negri. That's true. She does voice acting too. So that's true. I don't know why that didn't come to my mind.
Well, I saw one time there's like on Sci-Fi Channel, they had it was like a horror monster competitive show where they would have these people kind of pitch. It was like a reality TV show where they pitch people against each other to make these costumes and stuff. Like if y'all were to be invited to something like that, would you consider that?
Like a Project Runway for cosplay? Like
exactly.
Actually, there is one.
And the winner would actually have like an appearance on a movie or something.
Are you freaking kidding me? So like, is this real or something that might happen?
There is a show. In fact, a cosplayer that I know, not personally, but I've had correspondence with, his name's Stephen K. Smith. It's SKS Props. And he was on that TV show that they had. I don't know if they've done a second season yet, but basically they put a bunch of competitors in a room with just every material that you can imagine and said, here's a bunch of stuff, go build something and then present it to judges. Basically, I don't know if it was a day or a week or what it was, but
first a day and then for the prop, and then after you have a week for the whole.
That is amazing. Wait, was this on TV or was this online?
Cosplay Melee. I think it was called Cosplay Melee.
Holy
yeah. The one that I'm talking about is Face Off, but I think it's pretty similar.
Face Off is for the prosthetic and.
Yeah, so that's a prosthetic thing. So it's not necessarily cosplay, but I feel like it. You know,
oh my god, this is like legit. I just googled it. I hope there's more of this. This is like to me. This is like I would want to do this. Like, well, I would like to be a judge. I'd like to be like Tyra Banks of cosplay and just be like, no, you got to bring that back. No, that's not gonna work. Where are your wings, girl?
No, literally, you asked for wings. You don't have any wings.
These wings look droopy. I said Sephiroth. Right. So I know that to me that sounds like a fantastic show. I could totally see myself getting into it. Wow. So that's a completely different avenue that didn't even remotely enter my mind, but that's super cool. What was the one you said, Duddles? What was it called?
It's Face Off. TK said it's more like a prosthetic thing. It's not like, but they did make entire. Like,
there it is. The coolest head prevails. Oh, cool. So you can be a TV star. That's like, oh, this is all on like sci-fi. This seems like their network. Both these were on sci-fi. It's really. I hope Twitch does something like that. That'd be really, really cool. Wow. Is there any other avenues that we may have missed that you could become with cosplay?
Well, I mean, if you.
Of course, there's. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna mention like maybe the movie industry if you like really get professional.
Like design like props and stuff for legit.
That's where I was going. Weta Workshop and Stan Winston Studios, and all those big prop and costume makers for the major motion pictures.
Oh, snap! Yes, that's a. Okay, so I want to point this out to anybody when you're watching, whether you're watching live or on the VOD. Like, that's one of my favorite parts of this show is that there are certain things that your passion in your hobbies and whatever can lead you to that you just have no clue. Like you just have no clue where it can take you, and it just takes you on this like adventure. It takes you to this adventure. So that is. I'm just thinking about the idea of like starting off cosplaying and then suddenly you're designing stuff on the sets of like movies and major movie stuff. That would be like the coolest. I mean, to me, it's like that seems like a really direct path because you can design really cool cosplay and then you're like for years and you perfect your craft of design or whatever and your process and you can create some really cool stuff. So
right, imagine being given a $3 million budget to do what you did in your garage,
right? And not just one person.
Yeah, right.
It must definitely take off the weight of it. Man, that'd be really cool. TK, have you won any money for your cosplay designs in terms of like, contests?
I've won the honorable mention at BlizzCon for the Archon. So that was like I think like some money that they give you.
Was it for the Archon?
Yeah, that for the Archon.
Your Archon was wicked. How did you get honorable mention? How could you not win? Like who could you have possibly lost to?
I forgot who did I. No, it wasn't that year. I forgot that year who won.
It was like, a Reinhardt, wasn't it?
Reinhardt. I know there was a Reinhardt.
No, it was. I think it was a guy who did like a medieval Raynor. He'd made a kind of medieval.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
On it, but he did the whole thing out of leather or something.
Yeah.
What year was that, TK? I wanted to see if I can pull
2016. 2016. So there was him and there was and Diablo. Yeah.
Oh my God, BlizzCon.
Diablo was pretty good.
I was like,
what's his name? Like one of the Angel. He won like I think second or third place. And
man,
these cosplays
are actually really awesome. Holy crap!
Do we have a way of bringing those up?
I think Tara can pop some, maybe find these images. Oh, he's gonna put some up while we go.
That's the link.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, BlizzCon definitely has what I think is the most extreme cosplay.
These are some. It's like an orc here. I don't know why I feel like I should I come from an anime background, so I should know better. Like I should know.
Oh yeah, you're right. The winner was actually the orc guy. He actually passed away.
Oh, that must have been the SKS.
Yeah,
that won that one.
Was it SKS?
If it was the.
Was it that orc? It's like Thrall. Is this?
Yeah, Thrall. Yeah, that's it.
Or is it Thrall? It looks like Thrall. It'll say quickly who the winner. Man, these cosplays are freaking amazing. Gromash, Stephen Scott.
Yeah.
Gromash.
Who passed away?
Yeah, he passed away. That's
Mike Biasi. Yeah.
So okay, so
yeah, you're right. That's it.
So here's something that comes up, and I was gonna give the next question to Dells, but I have to steal this. I have to know: is there a lot of egos, like in the cosplay community?
There is. I mean, I won't hide myself that sometimes you feel good about yourself, like getting there out there and having the attention. So I
I
guess
mean, like,
there's a bit of ego, like.
I'm more equating because every community has it's central for discussion and it's Reddit equivalency. But are there times where you have some people who are on the top? Because obviously you have people who are like the top level of whatever community, and then you have people who are mid-level and those are on the bottom. Is there ever a time where some people who let the stardom get to them and way they treat those who are middle and bottom?
I guess I haven't been around enough of the higher end echelon to know. The few that I've talked to, the few kind of elites, I guess. No, absolutely not. They're courteous. They admire your work. The ones that I've met anyway. I can't speak for all of them, but I've had a pretty good experience with the majority of them.
What about yourself, TK?
Same. I mean, my experience with other cosplayers is that we always comment in each other in ways that like improve, like it's like constructive comments,
That is like the best thing to hear.
Like, because we always want to, like, first we're curious about, okay, how did you make this? Wow, it's like, that's cool, I noticed this. And then like we share our experience, and then we're always like happy to share it.
That's one of the things I've noticed. There's very few people who are really into cosplay that won't share methods. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's a very give and take, or I should say give and give deal.
So it's the opposite of actual StarCraft.
Well, even in StarCraft though, like other than maybe Koreans, most people are usually willing to help you. Like they're not like, you can't see my builds.
Right.
Unless, like, top level echelon Koreans.
Right. So even outside of even the cosplay scene and the people who are in these higher echelon, the bourgeois of, have you received any like really negative or heavy criticism on it? Like somebody walks by and they see it and they're like, this is the worst Warhammer cosplay I've ever seen. It's like, no, it's Jim. Have you ever gotten anything like that?
No, nothing really negative. I've had a couple of people at the Comic-Con that I don't know if they were dressed up as Deadpool or what, but they had that attitude of, I'm going to do my best to embarrass you. And, luckily I had my brother-in-law there to flatten him. He's a personal trainer and sort of a bouncer. So he was my guard for the day and took care of that particular incident. But no, most everybody's, I've had some constructive criticism about various things, and I've kind of worked that into reworked parts and things that I've gone over for a second time. But for the most part, no, people are great.
So when you say like try to go out their way to embarrass you, like is that more like trying to be in character, or is that more or less like they're like, oh, your cosplay is better than my cosplay, I should?
It may have been maybe a little of both.
Yeah.
It's hard to say what's going through people's heads. There's always going to be people out there that whether it's jealousy, whether it's just kind of their general attitude to the world, they don't want to let people just be themselves and be happy. They've got to put you down in one way or another, and you're going to run into that anywhere you go, no matter what you do. So you just have to take it in stride and shake it off.
In like a nice 500-pound stride.
If only you had the hydraulics and just gave him like a good Raynor punch right into the.
TK, how about you? Have you ever received any negative feedback or anything? Or anybody just being blatantly rude or about it?
No, I don't think none of that. Just had like some funny comments about the Archon with the tiny legs. Like, look at those legs! What are those? He's wearing sneakers. But yeah, apart from that, no. It was just, I think people are just like generally nice. They were generally nice and like making funny comments, but that's it.
Cool. Man, this is like the best community to be in. I should switch to fucking cosplay. Like,
right.
No negative comments. Everyone's willing to help you. Like, this is the life, man. Duddles, I think we're on.
Yeah, I've already gotten 4 tweets about my hat. You know, like people like Green. What an idiot! Who's this guy?
Right? It's like this is. Let's switch to that scene. That's like, that's the best one. Okay, so if you had to. If you were to give, okay, let's go to yourself 5 years ago. Like, what advice would you give yourself 5 years ago before getting into cosplay, Mike?
5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago, you.
If I knew then what I knew now.
Yeah, what would you jumped in the DeLorean and went back and got out and said, hey, you, what would you say to yourself?
5 years, you're going to build a suit. Here's what you should know.
Anything you would ask yourself to watch out for, or anything you would give yourself a heads up on?
While you're thinking, Mike, I'd say that I'll tell myself that like you're gonna be stuck in your basement for the next 5 years. You're gonna be covered in foam dust for the next 5 years of your life, and yeah, you'll definitely lose a lot of hair too, and time, yeah. So like, be prepared for that.
I guess I would say definitely don't stress over the little things. There's going to be a lot of little things, and if you worry about perfecting every little detail, you're never going to get through it. There were definitely points in the build that I just had to kind of throw up my hands and say, you know what, I've done the best I can. I need to move on, or I'm just gonna, be stuck in this loop forever. So,
you know what the funniest thing is when you say that, when you talk about the detail, when I look at your cosplay, there is a crap ton of detail. Like, a crap ton of detail.
And I had to cut back a lot from what I had planned.
I knew that's what you were going to say, that you didn't get everything in. I'm looking at your cosplay. I looked at the pictures, and I'm like, there's like dents. There's like, I was like, I almost shit myself because I was like, the amount of detail in just the sheer minutia of the armor is just mind-blowing to me. So I was like,
thank you.
Looks like they modeled Raynor after what you
originally, I mean, the thing that started this all was the that Wings of Liberty cinematic when Tychus walks out onto the gangway and they start suiting him up and welding him into the thing. I was just thinking, this is the coolest like cinematic for a game ever. And Blizzard made it really easy to make this suit because they kind of show you how it's built from the inside out.
True.
Can fit into it, but there's the scene where they're powering it up and they've got the jets in the back with the little moving heat distributor fit those little flaps that are up there in the exhaust. They've got the power cores down on the chest. Originally I was gonna have those pop out with green LEDs and the power nuclear power strips and smoke coming out the back and all that, and kind of had to just breathe. You're never going to finish it if you try and fit in every detail that you want, so just move on. So a few sacrifices.
I like it. It's like few sacrifices, except I got everything that is pretty much visible onto this cosplay. That is absolutely amazing.
I would say
Do you keep it in like a display? Like, is it normally just always where it is standing right now, or do you normally keep it somewhere where, like, do you keep it in display like behind a glass suit? Like, I'm imagining like the Batcave and how Batman has his suits always in display. Do you keep them like somewhere?
I had envisioned that when I was done. I was thinking, okay, how am I going to display this? I'm going to put it dead center in my front room, with glass and the lighting all over it, and have it, rotate on this.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
It's right there because it really does. It takes up so much of any room that it's in that there's no hope of really displaying it without, completely dedicating an entire room to it. If I had an extra room, yeah, I could use that as a display for any of my future projects. But at the moment, I'm sitting in my workshop and he sits in here with me while I work. So.
All right, we're just about finished. Go ahead.
Yeah, TK, I know you have to get out of here in just like a couple minutes. So why do you feel there are not a lot of StarCraft related cosplays? Do you have an opinion about that? Do you?
I feel my opinion is that StarCraft is a little bit overshadowed by World of Warcraft and maybe even Diablo. Yeah, and now in Overwatch, that's the new hype. So I feel like because of that, and StarCraft stays a little bit behind them.
Are you talking about specifically the game itself, or talking about the cosplay? Like,
I think the community also, because like look at World of Warcraft, it's like the community is huge, and like the fandom is huge too, and from then like each like have like their own characters, and they make like so many cosplay out of it, and from then it just boom, And the StarCraft community, I find a lot of it's mainly comprised of mostly like the actual gamers, and the people who are the fandom of it is like, I feel like it's not overhyped as like World of Warcraft, for example, within the Blizzard franchise. Yeah,
that's an interesting. Yeah, I mean,
which is a sad thing because StarCraft is my favorite game. So I would wish there to be a StarCraft movie and StarCraft cosplay, of every character as possible, but maybe.
Quick tangent question: What race do you play?
Terran.
Man, I was starting to like you so much.
Plays Terran, cosplays Zerg and Protoss. I see how
I started with the Ghost. That's why.
Okay. I was gonna say, I see how it is.
Yeah.
Terran Protoss for me.
Cool.
Either
I half like
either one. They're interchangeable.
I'm just kidding. No, that's super cool. What league are you guys in?
Like what rank?
Like what? Yeah, what's the highest league you've gotten in? If you?
Oh, I think I'm just like a low plat. So.
Okay.
I don't think they have a rank for my level. It's,
the Wood League
is level 0.
Platinum with an PLAID plaid.
Mike, what was your opinion on the StarCraft cosplay?
Just why there's, I don't know. I feel like maybe it was just bad timing. When StarCraft 2 came out, World of Warcraft had just had, this big revamp, and the fandom kind of floated that direction. And when StarCraft came back, it just kind of floated under the radar. They didn't, I don't know, did they not promote it enough or what? But yeah, I mean, it's definitely got the, until Overwatch anyway, it had the competitive gamers more than the people who'd play it for character value and, the storyline. Again, all my opinion, I don't know for sure, but that's just the way it seems. Everybody wants to cosplay Warcraft and now Overwatch, and yeah, they've got good characters, intriguing characters, but I mean, they've got to be people who played Warcraft in the beginning and just kind of never migrated over, because StarCraft has just got such a great storyline. It's got such great characters. It's so much deeper than I think any of the other games have been.
Absolutely.
I couldn't tell you why.
All right, so we have our last question, and this is the question we ask on every show, so make sure we get it in before TK has to leave. What is the best purchase you've ever made under $100? TK, hit us up. What is the best purchase you've ever made? And it doesn't have to be cosplay related, anything. Like, what is the best purchase you've ever made under $100?
Under $100?
Yeah, under $100.
I was gonna say my ticket to BlizzCon, but then
Ah.
well, no,
That definitely is not under $100. I wish.
Like my StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty the first. Like,
Oh,
I think that is what made me doing cosplay, like all the cosplay that you've seen today, and thanks to that game mainly. Like that sort of like brought my childhood back from Broodward and StarCraft 1. Just like make all those characters look so much cooler and everything. So yeah.
That is legit. I like that. Mike, what about yourself? What is the best purchase? And it doesn't have to be gaming related, anything. Best purchase $100. Man,
I'd say as far as return on investment, buying that first copy of StarCraft 2 it's led me to this, and
StarCraft changing lives.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, so StarCraft 2. Both of you are gonna say StarCraft 2? Okay.
Good answer. They belong here,
You can't really. I don't think you can really disagree with the idea of StarCraft 2 being one of those solid purchases that really kind of propel you. Like the show, it's speaking of StarCraft 2. So it's one of those things where I have to say I have a huge admiration for the amount of work and skill that has gone into the amount of work that you guys have done into your cosplays. But what would you give someone advice? Like, what advice would you give someone who's starting up in cosplay right now who's watching the show? What advice would you give them?
Just don't give up, like your idea, like whatever you set yourself to do. Like set your bar high and just go for it. And like, just even if you fail the first time, just keep trying, because if nobody out there has done it, then you might be the first one who's going to do it, and you can do great things. So just don't give up and just keep pushing to whatever your goal was, and stick to it.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid of failure, because you're inevitably going to fail at something, and just move on. It's okay to fail. That's how we learn, right? And I would definitely say, if you're going to do anything cosplay related, be passionate about it. Pick a character that you love, pick a genre that you love, because I've seen people who, they'll, whether they take a commission for somebody or they're just doing something quick for a convention, if it's a character that they're just like, okay, sure, you don't put everything into it, and it ends up, I don't want to say a waste of time, but it can be, just because you don't put that heart into it. So really, really be passionate. Love what you do. Don't be afraid of failure.
That was fantastic. On that note, I think I want to say thank you so much, you guys. That is like the best advice. I want to make sure you guys who are watching this on VOD and what have you really soak that in. A lot of experience from between the two of you. What would you guys like to shout out as we end off the show? Is there like either a page, Facebook page, or where can people find your work? TK.
To me, you can go follow me on Dabboy on Facebook or on Instagram. It's the same. So DABBOY. That's my page.
That will also be in the show notes when you guys want to find out. So if you don't remember and you can't remember, check out the VODs once it's up, and it will have the show notes for these links. Mike, where can they find you?
I'm on Facebook at RedRock Cosplay. And I've got my YouTube channel. It's Mike Wiggins, Wiggins.
Absolutely. That too will also be in the show notes. I want you guys make sure you check out the how this was done. How each of you both have like videos. If I remember, I know Mike does. TK, you have a video about how it was done, right? Your cosplay and like the breakdown. I remember thinking I saw one for the Archon, but you can get a lot more. And I'm also probably get from. We'll also have in the show notes some of these YouTubers that was mentioned today that you guys should check out for if you want to start cosplay. Was it Camwe? Kamui.
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 Yes.
Kamui.
CMUI.
Oh yes. It's Kamui.
SKS Studio, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have those in the
SKS.
show notes. Yeah.
Punishment Props. Evil Ted.
Oh man! All right. So I'm actually gonna hit you guys up after the show and get some of these links, and then I'm gonna put them in the show notes for you guys who are either watching. If you're watching the VOD on YouTube, hit the show notes, links in the description. Take it to it, and we'll have all the links there if you have more interest getting into cosplaying. Okay, so we're gonna let our guest TK go, but don't go anywhere. We still have to reveal the answer for the rest of the show. So, first of all, TK, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Our guests and staying. Mike, if you want to hang around for just a few more minutes as we close out the rest of the show, that would be super cool, because I think once TK leaves and you guys leave, it screws up our camera placements and then our cameras go all over the place. So we're gonna have to hang tight. All right, Duddles, why don't we get ready to end the show? Thank you again, TK.
Thank you.
Good to see you again, TK.
Good to see you too, Mike. Thank you, Drake.
Thank you very much.
And, nice to see you, Duddles.
And
TK, are you coming to DreamHack?
I'm working this weekend, that's why I can't.
No, you're
sorry.
killing me, TK. I was like, we're gonna go drinking and poutine. And
I know, but go have fun, enjoy. It's gonna be
I
nice
will.
weekend.
I'll drink one for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, thanks.